Brittney Griner has been released from Russian prison. She was, in fact, a de facto prisoner of war. So let's highlight everything that went down today. Here's the wife of Brittney Griner talking about the release.
I'm proud that today we had made one more family whole again. So welcome home, Brittney. And now I'd like to invite Cherelle to say a few words to you all. Of course, she's not excited at all about this. Cherelle, it's all yours, kiddo. Congratulations again.
Thank you. So over the last 9 months, you all have been so privy to one of the darkest moments of my life. And so today I'm just standing here overwhelmed with emotions, but the most important emotion that I have right now is just sincere gratitude for President Biden and his entire administration. He just mentioned this work is not easy, and it has not been. There's been so many hands involved, and so I'd like to take a moment to just specifically mention a few. Vice President Harris, Secretary Blinken.
A very good day for Brittney Griner, her family, her friends, a very good day for America. However, there are conservative pontificators, commentators, anchors, hosts, broadcasters who cannot stand that this American citizen has been released from Russia. Before I get into that, WNBA star Brittney Griner has been released from Russian detention. President Joe Biden said Thursday Griner was released in a prisoner swap that involved Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. The exchange, however, did not include another American that the State Department has declared wrongfully detained as well. That is Paul Whelan. She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home, Biden said at the White House this morning, alongside Griner's wife. After months of being unjustly detained in Russia, held under intolerable circumstances, Brittney will soon be back in the arms of her loved ones, where she should have been all along. Now let's go to the right-wing pundits. Are they celebrating the release of an American citizen? Here it is.
That is what's going to specifically raise eyebrows. That Brittney Griner, after less than a year being held in Russia, is coming home. Paul Whelan, after many years in Russian custody, remaining in Russian custody.
His family's going to be fired up, and rightly so.
Absolutely.
And the idea, Karen, that we're going to get this WNBA clown who didn't stand for the national
You knew what the laws were in that country, and you chose to smuggle in marijuana in your bag, and we're trading an arms dealer for
Convicted arms dealer.
What? What is happening?
This is the kind of thing that's going to raise a lot of eyebrows.
They're going to celebrate her, right? They're going to celebrate her. They're going to make her some American hero. You know, they're going to turn her into, she's going to get the front page of Vanity Fair, and she's going to get all dressed up, and she's going to be on the cover of Vogue. Mark my words, that's what's going to happen. And every newspaper is going to make her sound like some sort of a martyr.
Karen's right. People are saying that the priorities all mixed up. I want to add in Tennessee Cowgirl, who's saying they need to release all the J6ers. Think about the priorities of this administration and how far they're off. But you brought us perfectly.
It's really sad. Like, you think about all of these people, these Americans that are sitting in jail in a gulag.
And we release this Russian
arms dealer. You know, entitled, spoiled brat that went to a foreign country and broke a law.
You see the irony here, right? They contextualize those who committed an act of terrorism against the United States government as Americans. They do not provide that same contextualization for Brittney Griner. It is as if Brittney Griner is not an American citizen based on their commentary. They also decided to speak for the family of Mr. Paul Whelan, saying that the family obviously is going to be upset, outraged, etc. Well, let's go to the family. The family of Paul Whelan, a businessman and former Marine imprisoned in Russia on suspicion of spying, said they were told by the Biden administration in advance that he would not be part of the prisoner swap Thursday that allowed the release of Griner. Whelan's brother, David Whelan, said in a statement that while he can literally only imagine the joy she will have being reunited with her loved ones, and in time for the holidays. The inability to also bring Whelan home remains difficult for the family to process. That is an appropriate response. That is an appropriate response. I can understand their disappointment. Let's provide some clarity as to the differences between the two individuals. One, well, Paul Whelan, to be precise, he's there, I believe wrongfully detained, but he's there, maybe caught up in a military dynamic, maybe in a spy dynamic. We do not know for certain. The American government has denied that he's guilty of spying or espionage. Well, of course they would. Now here's the other dynamic. Brittney Griner had medical prescribed cannabis oil. She goes to Russia, says she forgets to put it out of her bag or take it out of the bag, which is perfectly understandable. And then she gets a sentence that literally is 10 times worse than anyone else based on the average in Russia. She becomes a political prisoner of war caught up in a conflict that she has absolutely nothing to do with. There was a time in this country where an American being released as a prisoner of war would have been celebrated universally by those on the left, right, middle, those who are apathetic to politics at all. That time, that day is no more. But for today, we will remember this picture of a very happy wife who says she's thrilled to have Brittney back home. All right, Jackson, what are your thoughts here?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point, I believe Republican commentators, or at least a handful of them, were criticizing the Biden administration for not having her home yet.
Yeah.
So, this was going to be a lose-lose situation in terms of that political argument, regardless. But you pointed it out just right. Brittney Griner, she was a political prisoner from the jump. Russia's not in a very good position with much of the world right now. And countries always need leverage, and especially when their backs are against the wall. That's all she ever was. She was a pawn. She was just leverage. So it's definitely good that we were able to get her back because it could have gone much worse, and she could have been there perpetually. But again, it's like, okay, well, I guess we should be able to bring everybody home at once. Again, so there was going to be criticism on that regardless. And I believe I also saw some commentators saying that he's got the January Sixers in jail, and it's like, oh, they're not entitled, but Brittney Griner is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
think about the irony.
Yeah. So it's just these people are ridiculous. And like I said earlier, before the show came on, what are you gonna do with these people besides beat them? So
yeah, and the irony is extreme. They will provide an excuse and immunity to those that committed an act of terrorism. They will say, well, these individuals are not really responsible for their actions. These are patriots who got excited. And then when it comes to someone who commits no violence whatsoever, has a small amount of cannabis oil, and has a prescription for said oil, she gets caught in a foreign country and then becomes part of this insane political dynamic. Well, she needs to stay there forever. There's a problem with her grace, but it would not be a problem if that grace was allocated to terrorists in the United States.